In the shadow of the most powerful city in the world, the Capital Golf Gang is on the air with instructor John Ronis from the Ronis Academy at River Creek, Executive Director of the Middle Atlantic PGA John Gould, and former University of Maryland golfer Ron Thomas. And now your host from Afternoon Drive on the Team 980 Radio in Washington, D.C., Steve Zabin.
A limited crew this week, but we're going to have a great show. A lot to talk about, including Patrick Cantlay winning the Tour Championship, Solheim Cup, React, and Breakdown, plus the rules controversy that erupted there. The Ryder Cup captain's picks have been announced for Team USA, and some controversy there as well. And we have a special guest today on the program, scheduled to appear, and I'll just leave it at that. Mr. Ronis is with me in the Mobile Strike studio right outside the elegant main entrance to the River Creek Club here in Leesburg, Virginia, home of the Ronis Academy, where you can book yourself a lesson at any time, even if you're not a member of this fine club. How are we doing here today? We got a member going on.
We got the member going on. So it's they have like three major events of the MGA, the Men's Golf Association, and this is one of them. So
the MGA of River Creek.
Correct.
Okay, member. Is this like the most prestigious, or is it?
Member guest is probably the most blown out of proportion.
Of course.
And then member is probably the one that I think people want the trophy the most.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's member and member.
You're picking your own guys.
Yeah, and it's kind of a little bit of pride because both of you are walking around. So,
Fun fact: I've never once played in a member guest, in a 3-day member guest. I've played in a couple of 1-days. Never been in a full member guest. Either I don't project well as an invitee, or I'm just been too busy. But it's an outrage. It's a disgrace. I should be playing in lots of member guests all the time. I should be America's guest.
You should be. That's an understatement. And it is your work schedule. It's hard because it's 2 days, it's 3 days, so it's difficult. And people are very intimidated by you, Zay.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
Find me to be just a lovable knucklehead when they get to know me. All right.
That's right.
Let's get cracking here. Patrick Cantlay wins the Tour Championship. Pretty profitable 2-week stretch for him, winning the BMW, then winning the Tour Championship and the FedEx Cup. $15 million in a single stroke, in a single weekend. Pretty amazing. And deservedly so for a guy who is growing on me the more I dig into his backstory.
Well, the backstory is unbelievable, right?
We're going to hear from
talk about that.
We're going to talk about that.
But $15 million for a 10-day period, isn't it lovely when people say that? Because it is a lifetime that got to that point.
That is true. That is true. That's unfair of me to characterize it that way because it's the furthest thing from the truth, and especially for Cantlay, as you're going to hear, it's not the case. Now, I remember when Patrick Cantlay was an amateur at UCLA, and he was actually competing in tour events and actually showing up on the leaderboard as an amateur. And I'm like, whoa, this dude is like the truth, right? Then he disappeared. Then he disappeared for a while, and I know that he had a tragic accident with his best friend and caddy in a hit-and-run accident as they were walking down the street one day in California, and boom, just like that, his best friend was taken away from him.
Yeah.
I knew that. I knew that he had some back problems. But other than that, Mr. Ronis, I don't really follow who's injured. What are they doing? Are they close to coming back? Are they hitting golf balls? We don't get these updates anyways, as the public, right? I just knew that, okay, Patrick Cantlay's hurt and, he's not playing.
Well, and he wasn't a superstar yet, so we wouldn't be following him anyways.
No. But hear the story he told at the Tour Championship about how long it took to come back from his back injury. I just want to go ahead and play this, and then we'll react.
Tell a funny story and maybe throw him under the bus in the process, but Dr. Greg Rose is a great friend of mine. He's helped me a ton, and when I was dealing with my back injury, he definitely helped me find the right people and helped analyze my swing to get the right swing changes to put less stress on my back, and he's done so much for me, Greg over at TPI. But there was a funny moment. I had gone to the spine doctor, and the spine doctor, I'd already been out 2 years, and the spine doctor told me, I think he said, what hurts your back? And I said, as the 15th time I've seen him, I said, Doc, golf hurts my back.
What hurts your back?
And he goes, what makes it feel better? I'm like, well, if I don't play golf, I'm pretty okay. I could do a desk job. And Doc says, I don't think you should play any golf for a while. I'd already been out 18 months or 2 years. I said, how long? And he said, maybe a year. And he was dead serious. And so that really shocked me, and I was scared. But he said, take a year off from golf. See how you feel after a year. Don't touch a club, don't putt, don't do anything if that's what hurts it. Because I've already done all the things I can do to help you get through this while you're playing golf. It was a tough pill to swallow. I went down to Greg Rose and I said, Greg, what do you think? Doc Watkins is saying you need to take a year off from golf completely. And Greg said, oh no, I wouldn't do that if I were you. I wouldn't take that long off. You're going to lose your proprioception. You won't be able to come back and play golf. And I thought about it a long time with my team. We ultimately came to the conclusion that we had tried everything under the sun, so we might as well listen to old Dr. Watkins and take a year off. And I told Greg at the time, I said, Doc, I'm going to take a year off from golf. I'm not going to do anything. If I can get my back healthy, I'm not worried about the golf. So don't worry about my proprioception. I'm going to be fine. I just got to get healthy. And, it worked out okay.
It worked out okay.
Wow.
Wow. Is right.
That's amazing. I didn't realize he took a year and a half, 2 years and 2.5 years off.
Basically 3, yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine being 18 months deep into how many doctor's visits, trying to figure out your back, and then the doctor says, well, I've done all I can. I'd suggest if golf hurts your back, don't do golf. Really, Doc? For how long? About a year.
Well, yeah, that's the amazing thing. About a year. And what do we do in the meantime? Do we do nothing? Do we walk around the neighborhood like an 80-year-old? I know, because I went through this.
And I'm glad that you're here today, because I know you've dealt with the devil that is back injuries.
Yeah, I have. And I just say this person, Patrick Cantlay, is a extremely special person in a couple different ways. The first is that he was able at a young age to take this news and fight through, boy, if it's 3 years of doubt, will I ever do? This kid was great. He had won every single award you could ever win. We could list it for about a minute and a half.
Here, I'll give it to you. Number one ranked amateur in the world for 54 consecutive weeks, a record that still stands. Amateur career included low-am finishes at the U.S. Open, ding, Masters, ding, winner of the Fred Haskins Award, the Mickelson Award, the Ben Hogan Award, the Mark McCormick Medal, and the Jack Nicklaus Award. In other words, all the awards. And by the end of his sophomore year at UCLA, Cantlay turned pro.
Mm-hmm.
He then won the Columbia Championship in 2013, second tournament on the Web.com Tour, and then lightning struck.
Yeah.
Warming up on the range, he said it happened in an instant. I made a swing, and it felt like a knife had been stuck in my back.
And that's how fast it happens.
Completely out of nowhere.
Yeah. And that's how fast it happens. And the doubt and the depression. The depression, that I had as a 30, I think I was 29 or 30 years old or whatever I was, or maybe I was 38 or 39. Yeah, I was 39 years old, was one thing. But to have your whole life ahead of you in that career and being that great and knowing if you would never, ever play professionally again, I can't imagine what the depression was. So let's just say that is unbelievable for his fortitude. Not to mention that then as he's fighting back and getting back, his best friend and his caddy
get to that.
Struck and killed. I mean,
we'll get to that. We'll stay on the back for a second. He said, the problem was my back hurt, and other than knowing it hurt, I didn't know anything. Nothing was certain. Every doctor said something different. I've been down that road with Lyme and rheumatoid arthritis. Boy, oh boy, is that frustrating and bewildering to go, well, wait, you said this and that other person said that.
Right. And the other person said, by the way, that other person's
It's crazy.
wrong.
They're wrong. They're crazy.
Yeah.
They're going to hurt
Oh,
you.
they blame everything on that.
Oh, yeah. They're talking to each other.
Yeah.
You have to sort it out. You have to really try to weigh the advice you're getting. He says, so to hear the doctor after a couple months off that summer that I might need to skip the rest of the year, I was in shock. I did play a few events to finish high enough in the Web.com playoffs to get my tour card, but I knew I wasn't healthy, and it wasn't at all clear how I was going to get healthy. I'd wake up every day, do a couple hours of physical therapy, then rest. That's it. Every day you want to be doing something active to make yourself feel better, but accepting that doing nothing was mandatory is the hardest part.
And when it was all said and done, what the injury actually was, which he fractured his L5 vertebrae.
Just swinging.
That year off actually was the best advice because, like a broken bone, it took that long a period to heal.
Right.
And he would have been wrecking it every single swing that he took.
He said it was tough because what am I going to do? But he said what he did was that he would play cards with some old timers, 70-year-olds,
Wow.
80-year-olds. And he said, I got to learn from them and hear their perspective on the long view of life. And he said it was truly enlightening and very much part of his journey. So he ends up taking another year off from tour, doesn't pick up a club. No guarantee that the first time he does pick up a club after another year off, that the back doesn't just go all over again. And he takes it with the kind of peace and acceptance that, frankly, is sublime to think about. And he says in that interview, he goes, you know what I said to the doc? I go, don't worry about me knowing how to play golf. If I can get healthy, I can figure out how to play golf. And boy, is he showing that right now. As if that wasn't enough, there's this layer to the Patrick Cantlay story. When he was in the lowest point of his life, in which he couldn't play golf, his best friend and caddy from high school, who was with him on a night out in Newport Beach, they were having a great night. His friend Chris said, he said his friend Chris would get him up off the couch and get him feeling good when he was at his lowest point, right? And he said that was happening that Friday night of the accident. He said we were walking down the street in Newport Beach, and then in an instant, it wasn't a great night. It was a nightmare. A car came out of nowhere and hit Chris so hard it threw his body all the way across the intersection. He couldn't have been walking more than 10 feet in front of me. I knew it was awful immediately, even as I was dialing 911, and I knew Chris wasn't really there anymore by the time I got to him. It was that quick. How do you handle all this? This cat is so made from a different cloth. It's amazing.
It's just like a lot of the things that affect our lives, and you look at certain people and you say, how are they that strong? How are they speaking at this funeral or this event or whatever? And I guess we're just put on this earth to do the best we can, and some people are able to handle those things at a level that we can't imagine.
Cantley said, what did the last 5 years teach me? When something really bad or life-altering happens, you want to acknowledge that it affected you. You don't want to stay away from it or pretend it didn't happen. You want it to realize, you do want to realize the great impact it has had on you, but at the same time, even if it's massive, you don't want to have it consume you. So you become jaded or apathetic or negative. And you don't like the person you become at that point. Walking that fine line of having something bad happen to you, taking your time to mourn and letting it affect you without letting it beat you down so hard that it takes you away from what you want to accomplish is very difficult. Accepting it and realizing it happened and dealing with it as best you can, that's kind of the art of life.
This kid's highly intelligent. I mean, let's get that straight.
Is there any wonder that he is so cool under pressure,
Yeah.
Patty Ice? Is there any wonder that he gets the essence of golf so perfectly? I always say that one of the many great things about golf is that it helps teach you lessons about life, larger things.
Yeah.
It's a microcosm. He's applying it in reverse. He's had, in essence, the book of Job in real life thrown at him with a back injury out of nowhere as this unbelievable amateur about to start a blistering career. His best friend taken from him senselessly, inexplicably in an instant. And 3 years away from the game, just wondering, will I ever get healthy? Awesome stuff, man.
It's amazing.
Awesome
it's amazing,
stuff.
and it's inspirational.
Hard not to root for the guy, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, he is a little bit dull. He's a bit boring.
He's incredibly dull. I mean, he's incredibly dull.
I was goofing around with my buddies on a text thread on Sunday of last week. I said, oh, great, a navy blue shirt and plain white hat for old Patrick Cantlay. It's like, come on, man. Can't we get him some flashier clothes? But it's almost like this is his personality. This is how he is.
Almost looks like him. He's so Pete Sampras-like to me.
I suppose,
he almost looks like him a little bit.
Anyway, the story I'm referencing is from Golf Digest, titled "A Comeback from Nowhere," and it's basically Cantlay in his own words, and as written by I think Mike Statura in Golf World or Golf Digest. You should check it out. But man, what a journey and what a story and what a weekend in which Patrick Cantlay held off John Rahm, the charging Spanish bull.
Awesome.
To win the Tour Championship. Coming up, a quick 9 with a special guest right here on the Capital Golf Gang, presented by Golfdom.
You are listening to the Capital Golf Gang. 4 guys who have to come up with creative excuses to their wives for those grass stains on their pants. You are listening to the Capital Golf Gang. 4 guys who all carry a perfect club, an alien wedge, a double-sided chipper, and a 20-foot ball retriever.
Well, at least some of those clubs. Zabe here with John Ronas inside the Mobile Strike studio. My voice is cracking a bit today. Maybe it's the fall allergies or just not enough water. Ron Thomas and John Gould are off this week. Where were they? What event were they
Washington
at?
Metropolitan Golf Association Senior Amateur is what Ronnie was playing in. I think Johnny was officiating that.
And I think Ronnie finished T27.
T23, I think, is what he told us.
Okay, very good.
If he was on here, we'd have a whole segment dedicated to it.
Well, I know. Next week we'll have him on. And I told Gould, I said, penalize him for something.
Yeah, just
next
for anything.
time. Anything, right. Just hit him up. Okay, our pleasure now to welcome on special guest, the other Gary Williams, not the head coach of Maryland fame, but formerly of Morning Drive, still with Sirius PGA Tour XM Radio, and soon to be launching a new golf platform called 5 Clubs. G-Dubs, how are you doing today, my friend?
Zabe, my boy, I'm doing great. I'm glad to hear that Ronnie got a top 25. Put that on his stat sheet. That's very good.
You guys are about the same age. Gary played at Vanderbilt. I don't think you ever tangled with Maryland back in the day, did you?
No, we did not.
Okay.
Did not.
A little bit out of conference there. So anyway.
Didn't play us at University of Connecticut either.
That's right.
Yeah.
Ronas is a UConn guy.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
we
nice.
didn't tangle too much with Vanderbilt.
Exactly. All right, we play a segment here, Gary, called a quick 9. It's 9 hypotheticals. It's 9 argument starters, and I've sent you the yardage book, so to speak, for the quick. Or no, I don't think I did. Did I send it to you?
No, I didn't get it.
Well, good.
That's okay.
You're gonna play the course blind then. All right, here we go. Quick 9 with Gary Williams of Sirius XM PGA Tour Radio, as well as the upcoming 5 Clubs platform, which you're going to tell us about in a second. Hole number 1. We'll start with you, Ronas. If you were to start a new golf channel with $1 billion behind it, what would you do?
Well, of course, I would bring first back
Gary Williams.
all the old talent that I loved watching in the morning and Morning Drive. I mean, I will say, Gary, it was almost the only thing I watched, actually, on that channel. But if I had that $1 billion, I love the 30 for 30s and those kind of things. So I would like to see more of that kind of production.
All right.
I don't think you need to go out there and deal with a member guest out here at River Creek or something like that to get that crowd in watching. But I'd love to see just more of those kind of stories.
Gary, what would you do? I know that the cutbacks were brutal, as so many talent, including
Brutal.
yourself. that we miss dearly, us as golfers? I know that the ones who are still there are doing their best, and I think a lot of people like them. But what would you do if I gave you $1 billion and said, build another golf channel?
You know, in addition, obviously, to needing rights, you need to put live golf on TV. It's an innings eater. You need that. That goes without saying. Steve, I think that and Netflix is going to do a docuseries on the PGA Tour, which I hope the tour will just relax, guys. They're human beings. They play an imperfect sport, and it's difficult. Let them be human. I would do a docuseries called Broken, because I know a lot of guys who've had borderline Hall of Fame careers that the sport has broken. And people don't realize how excruciatingly hard this sport can be on the psyche of somebody, whether it be a swing instructor who has wrecked you, an injury, a missed 5-footer to keep you from keeping your card. I'm telling you, Steve, those stories are countless. I would do a docuseries that it would be an endless stream of men and women who played the game at the highest level. The game has shattered. And I asked Billy Kratzer this question. I said, just off the top of your head, people you know fairly well, how many has the game broken? He said at least 36. That's one guy. Wow. That's one guy telling me 36 people he knows fairly well that the game has broken.
Yeah. Len Matisse, Ian Baker Finch, Scott Hoke, Bobby Clampett.
Mike Donald. I mean, these are the ones that we know off the top of our heads.
But you know what? Those are guys who have kind of come back, like the David Duvals and the Ian Baker Finch. They have come back and they have a different career. There's so many people who have nothing that we watched on TV
that are like,
and all of a sudden they have nothing.
They're like Sid Finch. More ghost than real.
Right. But they're just they might be putting clubs together in a back room somewhere.
Would they talk to you, Gary?
You know what? I think that they would. I mean, whether it be me or somebody else, I think that, you know, a lot of these people have a lot of things that they'd love to shed. And, you know, with the right outlet, I think that they would. I really do, Steve. And okay. You know, again, walking the halls of Golf Channel, every analyst who's calling golf, to some degree, the game has fractured because they're not still doing it for one reason or another. Frank was a fabulous player, and arthritis rode him right out of the game. I mean, I'd love to hear his story.
Yeah, that's good. If you find Anthony Kim and get him for a sit-down, now that would put your new channel on the map. The search for Anthony Kim. Truly. You know what, John, I'll tell you, Steve was the first one on AK. When he kind of popped early on, I remember, Steve, you texted me, you're like, I like this guy. I really like this guy. And he was a star, and he was a bona fide star, and now he's a unicorn. He can't be found.
That's the amazing thing about it.
I don't think I was early to AK, Gary. I think I hustled to the I'm never. No, I hustle to the front of parades is what I do. No. It looks like I found guys. I just cut to the very front. All right, hole number 2. By the way, what I would do if I started a new golf channel, I know you need the innings eating actual play-by-play.
Right.
But I still like the goofy shows. I like, you know, Big Break. I like stuff like that. I've got other ideas. I've got a show called Dog Track. It's a show about just the mangiest courses in America and the guys who play there. I would call Club Pro guy and I'd say, here, you got a half-hour show a week. Yeah. Don't tell me no. Don't tell me you can't do it. And make it hurt if you want so much money. I would do it.
Right.
Yeah, I like Dog Track.
Okay.
The personalities at Dog Track would be fantastic.
Yeah, it would be amazing.
All right, hole number 2. How long does an average new putting gimmick work?
Well, I give my people that I teach, it's 2 holes or 24 hours. That's the warranty on the lesson that I give. So I'm going to just go with the same thing on the putting gimmick.
But sometimes they last beyond the warranty.
Sometimes they do.
Okay. Gary, how long does a new putting gimmick work?
3.5 seconds, 1 stroke. Honestly, if that is where you are, there is no solution for the yippish, just shaking it off the blade kind of stroke that you have.
They're heading right to your show, Gary.
I
They're
think
going to your new show, Broken. It starts
right.
with the putter.
Right. I think a round and a half is generally speaking. What'll happen is you'll be rolling with this new stroke, new gimmick, whatever, left eye closed, weight shifted to your inner quads kind of thing at impact, and then you'll have one bad 3-putt, and it'll shake your confidence. You'll think, maybe this new thing is not the truth. It's just a gimmick. And then it starts to unravel. Hole number 3. Do you ever feel guilty about how much money, how much time, how much manpower it takes to just maintain a golf course?
Every day.
Every day.
I was out there this
new
morning.
director of golf here at River Creek. Every day.
We had some damage out on the golf course, and I was just out there with one of our chief agronomists, and it's $150-something thousand just in the past week to repair
damage.
Some of this stuff.
What happened?
It's rain, and then it settles. And
Trees?
No,
limbs?
it's just drainage, and the grass dies.
Oof.
It's bad. So, yes.
Gary, do you ever feel guilty walking around a course going, man, it costs a lot of money to
No, I
maintain this
don't.
place?
I don't. I understand. Listen, I've become, I think, more aware and more responsible in terms of being cognizant of the fact that this is real money that is required. But the value of playing golf, and it's hard to sell it to people who are non-believers. There's real value in the game, and I don't feel guilty about clubs and their ability or their challenge in trying to maintain golf courses. It's very valuable green space, and I love it.
Yeah. Well, it's also money that is voluntarily put forward by those who love the game and those who have the money.
That is correct.
Rich guys at clubs, and it employs people.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. When I walk around there, I want that money spent. I do. I want perfect conditions.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
Sometimes I walk around going, man, this took a lot of work. As a guy who tries to keep his yard in shape, I look around going, it's a lot of man hours right there. Hole number 4. What common golf course food will you refuse to eat during a round?
Well, I don't eat potato chips when I used to play, when I used to actually compete. I will not eat potato chips because I was told.
The grip killer.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you put them on your bare fingers on the right hand. Good night now.
Yeah, well, I was told not to eat potato chips because you'll get grease on your hands and boom. So that's.
I'm a left-hand chip eater. Because I'll eat with the left, and then I put the glove on, and then the grease is safe.
We called it in our house when we were growing up, it's a Roger Clemens. So the bag gets held right in front of you. Then you have your other hand up near your mouth, and you pick the chips out, and they go in your mouth. That's how Clemens used to hold the glove and pick the ball.
Okay.
So that's what we do. So
Gary,
no potato chips.
Gary, anything you don't eat on
I'm
the
a
golf
salty
course?
snack guy. I love salty snacks. Gristle missile. Everybody's got to try the local hot dog. I don't understand candy on a golf course. I think chocolate and candy is a non-starter.
So gummy bears would be out then.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Hole number 5. Should the Ryder Cup and President's Cup merge to form a winner stays format? In other words, this session we got USA versus Europe. Winner plays the internationals in the President's Cup. The winner of the President's Cup then plays the USA or whoever lost this Ryder Cup. So it just circulates. The longest you'd ever be out as a side in this 3-way thing is 4 years. Mm-hmm. It's almost like a winner stays on a basketball court kind of a thing.
It's a very good thought, Zabe, but the answer is no.
Because
it's
tradition?
It's just no.
You'd still have both with their own names, with their own revenue streams, with their own logos, their own locations. The only difference is you would have different teams sometimes.
I think we need it, and since we're starting a new channel, we need content. So, yes.
Okay. Gary, stupid
the
idea?
The answer is no. No,
okay.
I don't want any side to have to sit out potentially beyond what they already are required to do with respect to Europe or the international side. And I honestly think the international side, and I realize how one-sided the President's Cup has been. It's actually been, if you look at the results, look at Korea, look at what happened in Australia. I think it's been wildly compelling. And I think that Trevor Immelman is going to have a hell of a team in Charlotte a year from now. No, I like it the way it is, and I like to see the United States assembled every year.
All right, hole number 6. Would you rather be forced to play a really nice top 100 course for the first time with either A, one of those 2-colored orange and red Srixon balls, or be forced to play it with your buddy's set of golf clubs. So specs that are close to yours, but not quite yours.
That's a good question. I'm just going to go with the golf ball. Yeah, that's a tough one, but I'm going to go with the golf ball. I need my tool.
Gary, you'd go with the ball.
I can live with pseudo specs that are mildly close. The golf ball is the difference maker. If I had to play at a top 100 golf course with a pinnacle, I would be utterly miserable.
Well, I think these goofy half and half balls that look like putt-putt balls, I think they're decent performance. They're not pinnacles, but they look so stupid. And I can only imagine going up to the green at Shinnecock after stiffing it to 5 feet and then marking a ball like that. I'd feel so stupid.
Yeah.
I would go with the ball. All right, hole number 7. The one experience in golf that you still think about and pinch yourself knowing it happened. What is the one thing you go, man?
Do we have to be playing golf, or is it just a
golf-related experience?
The first time I walked through the gates going to the Masters was something that I can never forget.
That's a good one, right?
I really can't. It was like Dorothy opening the doors to Oz. Everything was brighter. Everything was more colorful. To me, it was very magical.
Okay. Gary, you've had many great experiences.
I've been very fortunate. You know what? I got invited and played in the Dunhill Lynx Championship one year, which is the fall event, which is the rota of Kings Barnes, the old course at St. Andrews, and Carnoustie. And it is the most decadent party. Every time I walked into my room at the Old Course Hotel, there were at least 4 gifts on my bed. I took a helicopter from the Old Course front lawn up the Scottish coastline to Carnoustie in 12 minutes. It was a one-off. I've never been invited back. I had to play as a scratch, but I did not care. It was the most preposterous display of obscene wealth that I've ever seen.
Oh, my God. That's incredible. So that's a paired event, Gary, in which an amateur plays with a pro?
Yes, it's exactly right. I played with a 19-year-old from South Africa who's on the European Tour. His name is Hayden Porteous. It was Shangri-La. It was remarkable.
That is amazing. I got to play 18 holes with Jim Furyk, just the two of us, for a Johnny Walker promotion at Avenel, a tour course. And I was on my game that day, and I beat him 7-6 as a 10 handicap, playing from about 80 yards ahead of him on every hole. But after the round, he had the full scorecard filled out in perfectly neat handwriting, signed a golf ball, shook my hand, said, good playing. Greatest dude
That's
ever.
Fabulous.
Great. Yeah. All right, hole number 8. Name the most underrated state in the U.S. to play golf. Most underrated state to play.
Wow. I haven't played in a ton of states, but I think the most underrated that I've heard of is Michigan.
Michigan, lots of courses.
Yeah. And lots of rabid golfers.
Short season.
Yeah.
Gary.
Ohio. If you look at Ohio, just Columbus proper, if you consider Muirfield Village, Double Eagle, the golf club, which is in New Albany, you got the Scarlet Course at the University at Ohio State, and not to mention Toledo, all greater Cleveland with Canterbury. There are probably more great golf courses that are borderline top 100 in that state than maybe any other. In Columbus, you can go to Columbus, and I've done this, and play just their rota. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I would say Wisconsin, but I don't think it's underrated anymore, and especially with the Ryder Cup, and the U.S. Opens, and everything else like that. But I would throw a nod in there to Utah because in season, before it gets to be winter, there are some amazing courses in southern Utah, kind of across the border from Nevada. Not a lot, but there is some. Finally, hole number 9. The Ryder Cup should have one crazy shirt day every session, every time they play it. In other words, the Sunday shirts in '99 that were ridiculed at the time, but now they're iconic. How about one day of the 3 days, or just one of the 5 sessions? It's the crazy shirt session.
That's fine, but like '99 didn't even have colors that were remotely United States.
It didn't
It was
matter.
like a brown with those pictures
It was
on
a
it.
dark burgundy.
That's
yeah.
fine. That's fine with me. Or pants or something. Go ahead.
One of the 5 sessions, crazy shirts.
All right, go.
You like
I'm
it,
fine
Gary?
with that. I'm totally fine with that. And, the genesis of the 99 single shirt was actually the Sunday shirt that Crenshaw wore in the 95 Masters. It was a Jeff Rose design, and it was, that was an
Who's
homage.
Jeff Rose?
Jeff Rose was the designer.
Okay.
And his name is on the label of that shirt. And those were all Ryder Cup, United States Ryder Cup teams that were on that shirt. And the 95 shirt that Crenshaw wore was a montage to Bobby Jones. So we had seen that
right.
shirt
Now I'm
There it
seeing
in
is.
95,
Wow.
that final round that he won the Masters.
I didn't know it. There's such
Oh, there it is.
such a limited number of those Ryder Cup shirts in existence,
Yes.
Gary. See, now this on our new golf channel, if someone gives us $1 billion, we could actually do a documentary on, where are the existing 99 Ryder Cup Sunday shirts.
Yeah. Or we're going to do it on a new entertainment platform called 5 Clubs.
Yeah, talk to us about
Yes.
this, Gary. You're about to launch a new golf media platform called 5 Clubs. Before I get to the how and the where and the what of it, I want to know why 5 Clubs? What does that signify?
5 Clubs, it is an homage to the original 5 clubs that made up the United States Golf Association. So Newport Country Club, Shinnecock, Chicago Golf, the St. Andrews, and which is the one that the Country Club at Brookline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those 5 clubs were the foundation of the USGA. So that is the homage, and we want to look at 5 Club as being foundational, but obviously with a chance to grow. So that and the logo, we just unveiled that. So we launch next week.
And it's going to be available where, and it's going to be, I'm sure,
On all the digital platforms,
Okay.
Spotify, Apple iTunes, Art19. We'll have a YouTube channel, and I'm excited because first guest is a guy who has an opinion or 1,000, Phil Mickelson. So that will drop next Wednesday.
That's
Nice.
a great first guest too. He's heading into being the ambassador of the game who actually expresses his opinion. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, he went off on the USGA about the driver
Yes, he
length
did.
issue.
And he should have.
We will talk about that.
Good.
Okay. Hey, real quick, your thoughts on the Ryder Cup, Gary, and the captain's picks by Stricker. We're awaiting, of course, Europe to pick theirs after the BMW is over. What do you think?
I'm fine with the picks. I think 3, you guys would probably agree, were mortal locks. I think the other 3, I can totally see if people wanted, whether it be Sam Burns, Jason Kokrak, Kevin Na. I think Steve Stricker has played his hand, and his hand is he's going style. He's going style and to some degree form, but that golf course is going to have very little rough on it. It's going to be hit it as far as you can and go find it and be able to advance it to the green, and that's the card that they're going to play. But they're going to deal with a European team that's going to be underestimated again, and we're going to find ourselves in an absolute nail-biter come late Sunday. It's bound to happen.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Oh, I forgot one thing. I mentioned that Furyk thing, memorable moments. I once beat Paul Pascalides in the Blue Cup at the Governor's Club in North Carolina when I first met Gary in his Ryder Cup competition. I'll never forget that because beating that little pipsqueak was really, really satisfying. Nice guy, though.
He's the Danny DeVito of the Blue Cup.
All right, Gary, great to connect with you. We'll look for 5
You too,
clubs
buddy.
online and keep on doing what you do.
Gary,
Thank
pleasure
you, my
meeting
friend.
you. Thank you.
There you
You
go.
bet, John.
All
Take
right,
care.
We'll see you.
All right, coming up, final thoughts here on this special edition of the Capital Golf Gang, brought to you by Golfdom.
You are listening to the Capital Golf Gang. 4 guys who once dreamed of becoming caddies on the PGA Tour until they found out you have to take the blame for everything. You are listening to the Capital Golf Gang. 4 guys who only care about one trajectory on their irons: airborne.
Indeed. Myself, John Ronas, back here in the Mobile Strike Studio. Final segment of today's special edition of the Capital Golf Gang. Ronnie and John will hopefully be back next week. Maybe we'll be back at Golfdom. I got play a great round of golf at Buddy's Club, Westwood Country Club, in the heart of Tyson's Corner, right off of 123. And thank you, buddy, for that. And it was an enjoyable day.
It always is.
Such a nice
Especially,
course.
It's a beautiful spot, and Buddy's just such a nice dude.
I know.
He's just such a good guy.
And he's got, they now have at Westwood a pizza oven outside.
Oh.
How good is that?
Located where? Is it
Right
like associated with the clubhouse?
It's on a trailer. They
God.
they move a big old industrial pizza oven.
Jeez.
That's so good.
That's great.
Anyways, thank you to Buddy for having us out there. All right, we've got a couple minutes here. Solheim Cup goes to Europe 15-13. The U.S. was favored sort of heavily, but I think everyone that knows golf knows that thing was going to be close. Most of these team competitions are always very close, and the Europeans were just a bit more clutch down the stretch. Now, the big headline story out of the competition was this rules kerfuffle with Nelly Korda and the ball that overhung the lip on one of her putts.
I didn't hear about it.
You didn't hear about it?
Now, not a big Solheim Cup mark.
Okay, well, I am. I like
Yeah.
all these team competitions.
Yeah.
Solheim Cup, Walker Cup, Curtis Cup, Blue Cup, Green
Yeah.
Cup, Dixie Cup, Red Solo Cup. If it's a cup competition,
if we're winning
there's
a cup-
uniforms and teams, I'm like,
That's
yeah,
right.
I'm a total
right.
mark for it.
Good.
So anyway, Korda putts it up, 20-footer. Ball is on the edge of the hole, might have been hanging over a little bit. That's the key point of contention. Stops, doesn't fall. Their opponents, I believe it was Magdalene Sagstrom for Europe, walks up, plucks the ball up, tosses it back to her to concede the 1-incher. Now, I see your face going, ooh.
Yeah.
Why are you saying ooh?
Well, what time frame was this?
It was within seconds after the ball stopped.
You can't do that because you don't know if the ball stopped.
Ah.
Can't do that. So, honestly, I believe that could have been ruled that it was deflecting a moving ball.
Well, what happened was the two sides didn't argue. It's not like the Americans said, hey, wait a minute, you shouldn't have done that. It was a rules official who stepped in, unsolicited, and said, sorry, but that's a penalty. You lose the hole. Or it's not you lose the hole. It's that putt is considered to have been
Hold.
And it was quite upsetting to the Europeans. They lost the match, 1 down, which of course it always happens, right?
Of course.
And it was upsetting to the Americans because they felt like they were being, castigated. Felt that they were being sort of cast as cheaters in a way. Not cheaters, but that they were taking advantage of something that shouldn't have been. I'm going to show it to you here. I know this is radio if you're listening, but here's the actual.
Still in question. Nelly for Eagle on 13. The match at this point is tied. And
All right,
creeps
so ready?
closer
1,
on the edge.
2, 3, 4.
You're going
5,
to see Sagstrom comes
6.
in, picks
All right.
up the ball.
Penalty.
Wow. So you're pretty adamant that it was and should have been a penalty.
6 seconds. I counted them right there when that ball hit, and it's hanging over the edge enough where it could be considered, and therefore that's a penalty.
Here's the rules of
No,
it.
that's not what they
reasonable
said.
time.
No, it wasn't that. If it was not going in.
You have a reasonable time to get there, and then it can sit for 10 seconds.
But it was never
to see if
going to go. It was
falls.
past the hole.
But you could technically do
Was
that
it-
about every hole.
No,
Was
it was
it,
past the hole.
was it overhanging the hole?
No,
it wasn't.
Can we look at TV then?
Was it? Yeah.
You look
Yeah,
at
yeah.
TV.
No, because
Yeah.
it was.
It wasn't past the hole,
Here you go.
Okay.
Look, it's debatable. We saw
See, I
and
think
it's coming in from a breaking point where that is not past the hole according to the line that it was taken. Look,
I think it was 1/10 overhanging.
Yeah.
The most narrow
okay,
slivers.
that ball's not going in the hole. I'll give you that. But you can't just roll in when it's that close and pick it up. Look, there's certain
Don't
things.
you
and
think-
I'm
don't
not
you
a
think-
rules guy. Like I could care less.
Don't you think normal etiquette, and I'm not trying to say the Europeans were bad or anything. I'm just saying typical etiquette. Like, I'm just thinking if I'm in the match, I would walk up to it as the opponent and I'd bend down to take a good look first. And I'd go, And then I might look at my opponent and say, do you want this back or are you going to come get it? I don't think I would touch it. I will say this. In match play,
and it's pretty rare that you play match play. I never touch my opponent's golf ball.
That is true.
It's their equipment, and I'm not touching it.
What? You don't scrape other guys?
No.
In match play?
I do not.
How about a friendly match? Not match play, but a friendly match at the club. You're good, and you scoop it up for them in a friendly match. That happens all the time.
And honestly, most of the time, I just walk away. I just walk away. I don't know when someone wants to putt their own putt when we're just playing a casual round of golf, and they say, I want to putt everything out. And I don't know when, I'll start banging putts back if the person's making 8 and I want to finish the round in less than 7 hours. But in a match, that's their equipment. I don't touch their stuff.
Even a $2 Nassau?
I don't touch your stuff.
Okay. Well, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. Your thoughts on the USA team? I have a much more grim outlook on the prospects for Team USA for a variety of reasons. And I am a Kevin Na fan.
Yeah.
I'm a Kevin Kisner stan. And I'm even a Billy Horschel fan. And those guys, I guess, did not do anything for Captain Stricker because he took Scotty Scheffler, a rookie, who's talented but hadn't won yet on tour.
Mm-hmm.
And he took Daniel Berger, who's a great grinder and an overachiever with a really weird-looking swing.
Yeah.
But he's more suited to the Memphises and the Hartfords. Is he a big game player? Do you ever recall seeing Daniel Berger on the front page of the leaderboard at a major? Because I don't.
No. I'm with you, Zabe. I hate to. I'm with you. And I
those
love
are
Stricker.
those are the last 2 picks. Now you can hide those guys. There's other problems on the team in that I still think Koepka may back out with this injury. Now the injury may be legit. Haven't heard anything as of this taping on a Friday, September 10th. So it's only been over a week since he hurt his wrist at the Tour Championship. I believe that Koepka wants no part of this DeChambeau fake love fest and would love to be able to go, my hand, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That sounds crazy. You're saying that a competitor like Brooks Koepka, 3 majors, would not want to be on the biggest stage in the game of golf at the Ryder Cup. I would say to you, yeah, I think this dude's a little different. He's a little too cool for the room sometimes. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, maybe he's not a team guy, so it means nothing to him. Maybe he's not. Maybe it's just all about Brooks.
I think it kind of is.
Right. So the team.
Who are his friends on tour?
I don't think he has.
He had one friend. It was DJ.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
So then you bring in someone. You got to bring in one of those. You got to bring in a Kevin Na or I bring in Kisner because you got to bring in someone now with a chip on their shoulder. Oh, you didn't pick me the first time? Well, let me prove you wrong. Not a guy who's going to tiptoe into the room. Now, the only reason I can see that he didn't pick those guys is because they do have a little bit bigger personality than the Harris Englishes of the world.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, I would have loved to seen Kisner and Kevin Na's a good player, man. He's consistent.
Yeah.
He's good. But I don't know. I'm not going to disagree with. They know much more than we do.
Just checking the headlines here. Golf Digest 2 days ago. What happens if Brooks Koepka can't play at Whistling Straits?
And what does happen? He's got to make a decision at what time. And then they can substitute.
I
Day
don't
before?
know. Hopefully they're getting an extra set of shirts and pants for whoever could fill in for him.
Right.
Meanwhile, Colin Morikawa, who I love, has been very inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
There are missed cuts in his tournament logs. In fact, I'm going to look this one up.
And unfortunately, Spieth is not playing well either right now. And now he's expecting a new baby, which is great. But the fact is, it is still going to result in taking some of his precious time needed to be the competitor that he is. He's not a guy that's so super talented. He needs to work at it. So it'll be a little bit more difficult as he goes through this. It'll be the best thing he ever did, but, it's hard.
All right, Tour Championship, Morikawa 26th, BMW 63, Northern Trust missed cut.
Mm-hmm.
FedEx St. Jude 26th, won the Open Championship, 4th at Torrey Pines U.S. Open, 2nd at Memorial, 14th at the Charles Schwab. I mean, a lot of good finishes. That's why he's number 1 in points, but missed the Open at missed the cut at Wingfoot back in the fall.
Yeah.
He's not, as a number 1 guy, he ain't Rahm, is my point.
We got 8-5, 26 missed cut, 63-26. Those are his last 4, I believe.
Right.
It's not good.
Right. Now, I like a lot of the guys on the team, and I do wish Daniel Berger and Scotty Scheffler, I want them to have a great Ryder Cup. I'm not rooting against them, but I wanted more fire. I wanted more personality. I wanted someone I thought Kisner was the exact kind of guy that, let's say something starts up, some chirping between Bryson and Brooks, even though they said they'd play nice.
Yeah.
And it's in the team room. Kisner's the kind of guy who could speak up and just with that southern Kakalaki drawl go, listen here, ladies, enough of this. We got to go win, and it would diffuse the whole thing because he doesn't give a
with a toothpick in his mouth and a dip in his lip.
Right.
He would and sitting back in a chair, he would say something like that. And those guys would have to think for a second, how stupid are we acting like this?
Right. Or do I now need to go fight this little crazy guy from South Carolina?
He would just flick him away and say, I don't have any time for fights here.
A YOLO
I'm
guy.
gonna win.
Yeah, and I think Kevin Na is such a funny, goofy dude. He would have brought a nice, upbeat attitude to the locker room.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You go to these you try to dig into the data. Now, who's longer? Who's got more strokes gained here? It's a personality and chemistry event.
Yeah.
And I would have gone full chemistry on the final 2 picks. But good for Stricker. He's got his guys, and he's going to go to battle in less than 2 weeks.
I'm so looking forward to it. I love the Ryder Cup, and I love the President's Cup, and that's why I didn't want to separate the two, because I need it every 2 years. Every year, I need one of those competitions.
Now,
it's so fun.
I'm going to be there.
I know,
I'm going to do my show.
Thanks.
Well, if you want to come, you can. I'm doing my show for 97.3 The Game in Milwaukee live on Friday from the Media Center. I could theoretically do this show live on Saturday if we can get a board up from WJFK.
We'll see what you get.
You want me to put in a request for that?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Because I would love to talk about it.
I mean, that would be good.
It would be awesome.
Chris Kennard, if you're listening, I need one board up for one day in my life on the Saturday of the Ryder Cup 2 weeks from today.
We can talk 2 hours that day.
Oh, we could absolutely do that. All right. Johnny boy, thank you for taking time out.
Thank you.
You now have to go pop out of the van and find out all the disasters that have unfolded in the last hour at the member here at River Creek.
They are.
They're
right
on
here
your
on my
phone right now.
1 hour, too long.
All right. Thanks for listening. Appreciate you guys and your ears. What a great time, great weather to play some golf. Let's finish the year strong, and we will see you next week on the Capital Golf Gang, presented by Golfdom.
This has been the Capital Golf Gang on the Team 980. If you'd like the gang to visit your home course, send your inquiries to zabe@yahoo.com. That's CZABE@yahoo.com. Or visit the show page at www.theteam980.com. And for free swag, we're all in extra large. So yeah, thanks for the shirts.